Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the witnesses for joining us today to discuss FEMA's implementation of building codes across all its programs in order to help communities prepare for and recover from disasters. Even before FEMA's creation, building codes have played a role in disaster assistance and recovery, beginning with the 1974 Disaster Relief Act. This act gave the President authority to provide funding to state and local governments to help repair or reconstruct buildings damaged by a major disaster, and this was to be in conformity with applicable codes and standards. Following the creation of FEMA then in 1979 and the signing of the Stafford Act in 1988, this practice continued for disaster response. The signing of the Disaster Recovery Reform Act, DRRA, in 2018 marked an even greater emphasis on building codes when it comes to hazard mitigation. In this regard, the DRRA directed FEMA to create the Pre-Disaster Mitigation Program, which you heard from the chairman is now known as BRIC, and to consider 11 different criteria when awarding pre-disaster mitigation funds, including the extent to which applicants have adopted and enforced the latest building codes. The incentives and funding provided by the DRRA are critical since 35 states have not adopted modern building codes. This creates a public safety hazard and unnecessarily increases the costs of disaster recovery. Additionally, the National Institute of Building Sciences found that designing new buildings that exceed the 2015 International Residential Code and the International Building Code would result in 87,000 new long-term jobs. Since the DRRA was enacted, FEMA has adopted a wide range of building code requirements across its disaster response programs. Codes from two of the organizations represented here today, the ICC and IAPMO, are referenced as in the current programs, which is particularly helpful for Nevada because we use IAPMO's plumbing and mechanical codes, which form the basis of our state's regulations. I'd also be remiss if I didn't recognize the role that Nevada plumbing, heating, and cooling industry has played during the COVID-19 pandemic to ensure the efficient use of our water supply and to protect the safety of our hospitality workers. While FEMA's recently recognized a more diverse set of codes, including those predominantly used in Nevada for disaster response, it's my understanding that more could be done to update education and guidance documents for resilience programs, which are essential to helping communities avoid physical and economic losses from future disasters. So as we convene this hearing today, I'm interested in learning more from our panel on the limitations that may be placed on states and localities when a more diverse set of codes is not recognized and how this impact may result in the disaster mitigation costs and local workforces. I want to be clear, I'm not advocating for FEMA to approve any particular building code, but rather for there to be greater consideration of all building codes that have a basis in research, expert scrutiny, and application to state and local needs. So again, I thank our witnesses for joining us, and I yield back.
Chair thanks the gentlelady. The chair now recognizes